We are continuing with question 1 or part 1 of free response 2, and we are on part C and D. And actually there's no part E. Part E should be actually 3 of D right here, okay? So part C is asking us, after the decrease in consumer income, what must be true in order for the firm, Best Milk, to continue to produce in the short run? Well, you should know that a firm in a market, in a perfectly competitive market, is going to operate in the short run as long as the price is equal to or higher than average variable cost. And we did a lot of work on this during the year, and you can go back and review that. If you use your graph handout that I showed you in the last video, you could download it from the AP practice exam link on Blackboard, and this is it right here. And go to this graph here. It's like, if we look at this whole thing, it starts here, and we scroll down to right here, you can see short run cost for a firm. Now, as long as price is equal to or above average variable cost, the firm is going to continue to produce in the short run. So if we go back and look at our situation, and I've got this graph right down here. So as long as the price is either here, whoops, you know what, let me lock this again. I should remember to do that. Lock, where's lock? Right here, okay. So as long as price is either equal to or above average variable cost, the firm will continue to operate in the short run. And if we look at our graphs up here, we can see that that would mean that we would have to draw an average variable cost curve here or below. So it's going to look a lot like the average total cost. Because if you remember, the difference between average total cost and average variable cost is that average fixed cost is included in average total cost. It's not included in average variable cost. Okay, so this differential right here is this amount, average fixed cost. And since average fixed cost over time is lower, you can see that these two curves get closer as you move out into higher levels of output. Okay, so if we had an average variable cost curve here either equal to or below this new price line, then Best Milk would continue to operate in the short run. Okay, now, part D. Assume that the industry adjusts to a new long-run equilibrium. The industry. Compare the following between the initial and the new long-run equilibrium. Well, it's easy if you just use your graph. And you don't have to, I don't think, but I would highly encourage you just to go ahead and draw this on your graph. So what would happen when you're in a situation where firms are suffering a loss? Now let's go ahead and assume that Best Milk keeps operating. Even though they're suffering an economic loss, we're going to assume that their average variable cost is below the price, even at this lower price, at this lower output. We're going to assume that they've got, and I'll actually draw it in here. It's not going to be pretty, but I'll try. So we're going to assume that their average variable cost is something like this, right? And so that they're able to operate here because they're above their average variable cost. So they're going to stay in. However, there are going to be, we're going to assume again that there are other firms in the market that have an average variable cost up here. And they're going to have to shut down because if their price is below their average variable cost, those firms are going to shut down, which means that the supply in the overall industry is going to shift to the left as individual firms leave the market, which means you're going to have a leftward shift of the supply, and firms are going to keep leaving until price once again equals average total cost. So in the long run, let me get this out of the way because it's distracting. In the long run, you're going to have fewer firms in the market, and the way they've drawn these curves right here, you're going to have much less output, much less milk being produced in the industry, or dairy products in the industry. But in the long run, the price will come back, and I should draw an arrow here, that would help. The price will come back up to the original long-run equilibrium price. So the price is going to move back up, and if best milk can survive long enough to stay, can stay operating, the hope is that the price will come back up as firms drop out, and best milk will again be making a zero economic profit and be in long run equilibrium with price equal to average total cost. And now you understand what's going on here. The change here is going to mean less overall output for the industry. Let me draw one more arrow here. So the overall output in the industry is going to drop to bring the price back up. However, the individual firm here is going to come back to their original output level of Q1 right here. So they're going to actually come back the other way. We can really confuse this with more arrows, right? So they're going to come back to here. Not very well drawn, but let's see, come back to there, right? So their output is going to increase, whereas the overall market, the overall dairy industry's output is going to decrease. Okay, so did that answer everything? Let's go back and look. So the price in the industry is going to return to where it was originally. The output of a typical firm is going to return to where it originally was, and the number of firms in the dairy industry are going to decrease. And in this case, the way these graphs are drawn, with this drop in quantity output, it looks like a lot of firms are going to drop out of the market. And that takes care, I believe, of everything you need to do and know for question 1 of your free response to assignment. Okay.